Hello, hello. How are we doing today? My name is Sir Lord. Today we're going to continue our Pokemon Nuzlocke. I've edited settings like a tiny bit, made the screen a bit larger for you guys, and then I did a little bit of overlay messing with, like, not too much. I was looking for, like, a better background, but I didn't find anything I liked. So I'm probably going to have to make my own, but I don't really have time to do that today. That will have to be a future project of mine. Uh, but yeah, so today our game plan is we're going to keep on trucking on. We're going to try and get Vulpix to level 20, as that is when Vulpix will learn the almighty Ember. And what we're going to be doing while we're doing a little bit of grinding, to be honest, is we're going to be training or talking about what my ideal Pokemon game would be. Okay, so we're just gonna be doing a little bit of theory crafting about that, and I hope you guys enjoy. So we are going to start. Do I want to do that? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, so we're gonna probably train the Vulpix over here. But ideal Pokemon game, you might be saying. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, if I could design a Pokemon game, what all do I want in it, and what steps would I take in order to create my ideal Pokemon game? That's kind of what I'm going to be talking about. So we're going to go in chronological order of right from when you boot the game, okay? So, dang it. So starting with that. Alright, you just got your copy of Pokemon Trinity. Alright, well, that's what we'll call for it for now. It might not stay like that, but Pokemon Trinity, alright? And with your copy of Pokemon Trinity, as soon as you boot it up, the first thing you'll see like the normal title card with the legendary or whatever's on the box and all that good stuff. All right, you'll still see all that, which will be cool and whatever. And then you have your file select. First off, we're gonna actually have two files to choose from, maybe three, but I think two should be just fine because as a kid, I had a sister, and eventually she would start playing her own. Like, my parents would get her own copy of the game, but for a little bit they would have us share the same copy. But if you know Pokemon, that doesn't work because there's only one file. So multiple files. Let's say someone just only has enough for one DS or whatever console, Switch, etc. Especially since it's on the Switch, actually. Our Switch has like kind of killed the mobile market, but giving us a multiple save slots would be very nice. Just so like I can get my Pokemon, they could get their Pokemon, and if they're feeling extra nice, what they could also do would be to give us the ability to trade, like kind of like drop trade, or do like old school Animal Crossing of saves. Like being able to send Pokemon to a different save and stuff, which would be so nice, especially because it would make it easier for people to get their starters with one copy, because you could just start a different file and get your get your starter. You could get legendaries a little bit easier, especially if you're allowed them to be a little cheeky with the saving. So if you like copy the saves and move them, it would be easier to like essentially grind out legendaries. Now that might not be an intended like design, and I don't know if I would keep that, like where on the title screen, you know how with a lot of like turn-based RPGs you can choose whether or not to save, copy, or delete. So instead of having it be where you could do that, you might just only be able to save and delete. All right, just get rid of the copy option. But I don't really care either way. I think it'd be nice to have the copy option so then you don't have to play through the whole game again in order to get more copies of whatever legendary it is. But It's fine. So then, after we've established the multiple save slots, what next? So you obviously select new game. All right. New game will then take you to a question. And this is just a very, very simple question. It's going to ask you, have you played a Pokemon game before? You can hit yes, you can hit no, you can be truthful, you can lie. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. The important part is that it asks you this question. So then you can be like, yes, I've played a Pokemon game before, or no, I have not. And depending on your selection, it will either go through like the tutorial process, or it will allow you to skip the tutorial process, because we've all been there. We've all got the newest copy of Pokemon. We're ready to go on our adventure, and it's got to show us how to catch Pokemon again. And you're just like, I already have like 3 Pokemon in my party. Like, I know how to catch Pokemon. You don't need to give me this tutorial. But some people do need that tutorial. It's their very first Pokemon game, and I understand that. So that's why they should be allowed to choose. Like, oh, that's not a bueno. That is very much not a bueno. Um, but they should be able to have the choice of whether or not they should go through the tutorial or not. I just think it would help everyone out. Then, depending on the answer, if they said, no, I have not played a Pokemon game before, then they just go straight to the game. But if you said yes, that's where we get a little bit more interesting. So what we'll do is we'll have the game give you 3 different mode options. Now, these are going to kind of be difficulty, but not difficulty, if that makes sense. So it's going to be things like, okay, you can choose whether or not, or you have 3 modes. You have your standard mode, which is just regular old Pokemon. You have to heal at the Pokemon Center in order to heal your guys up. It's just like your standard adventure fare, right? Just standard. So story, standard mode. Then we have trainer mode or battler mode or competitive mode. Like it doesn't really matter so much at what the name is, but the idea, the concept for this one is it is the mode meant for competitive battlers or like those who just want to go fight their Pokemon. They don't want to worry about all that story stuff. They don't want to worry about having to be restricted or anything. It's going to be the most open and free mode that there is. So there's going to be no random blocking of routes or anything. It's just going to be you and the world, and you're just good to go. Maybe we'll call it freedom mode. So in freedom mode, in addition to not having like roadblocks, you also will not have to worry about healing your Pokemon after every battle. So they'll automatically be healed. And on top of that, trainers will actually have sets designed around battling. So it'll be a tougher mode in terms of fighting the trainers. So they'll have items, they'll have maybe some basic strategies, and then the gym leaders will have like more thought out strategies. And the gym leaders on top of that will probably have more of a consolidated AI in terms of like what they're going to have their levels equal whatever your level is. So your highest level Pokemon or the average level of your team will be taken into account, and then that's what they'll use. If they only have like 4 Pokemon and you have 4 Pokemon, they will disregard Pokemon that are like they'll take your 4 highest. And on top of that, to help prevent cheesing, so where you bring 1 really strong Pokemon and like 5 really weak ones, it will also, if there's a level difference of about 5 or so, it will not count those that are under that level difference of 5. That way it's like way harder to cheese and not as uh like easy. So that's mode number 2. Anything else? So like potions, ethers, and whatnot won't be as useful, but it's more about getting through and battling your way through the game. You'll still have to go collect like TMs and whatnot, which I guess I will mention that briefly. TMs are coming, permanent TMs are coming back. We're not dealing with this TR nonsense. I do not like the TR nonsense. And mode number 3. So mode number 3 is going to be like the challenge mode, okay? So it's going to be, it's not directly going to be corresponding to Nuzlocke's, but it's going to be like the intended Nuzlocke mode. So this is where essentially the game itself is going to restrict you from being able to overlevel yourself. So whatever the gym leader's Pokemon is, it is going to be stuck, or your Pokemon level cap is going to be stuck there. You're still going to have your roadblocks. All that stuff from story mode is going to be in place. And essentially it's going to be the opposite of freedom mode. So it's going to be more puzzle-like. It won't have the official Nuzlocke rules implemented in-game, because there's all sorts of things that you can pick and choose for your Nuzlocke, and I don't want to hard define those officially. This is assuming we do have like official Pokemon game. So we just get rid of that, or make it much more difficult, and I actually will have the TMs in this mode specifically be one-time use, because I want it to be the hard mode, right? The difficult, grindy, planning out kind of mode. So once you beat the game in any of these modes, you are allowed to switch modes freely. But until you beat the game, you cannot switch your mode in between the games, or in the middle of your journey. So those are the 3 modes. Haven't even got to the game yet, but that's where we're at the moment. So then we get to the character customizer. So we're going to actually have it be so you can kind of choose your age group with the character customizer, because like we've had protagonists go from anywhere from 10 to about 16, I want to say. 16-year-olds being in Black and White, and Black and White 2. Why not let people do like anywhere from 10 to like even 24? Like a lot of young adults play Pokemon at this point. Let them make their own character as like an adult. Why not? Might as well. And I'd really like to kind of emphasize like more customization options for the player too. One of my favorite parts of some of these Pokemon games, just the more recent ones, is just looking at all the different clothes, trying to see what different options I can have my trainer look like, because in general that's one of my favorite things in gaming, is customizing what my character looks like. And so there shouldn't be any reason we don't do it here. So, man, that's annoying. We're going to it does also mess with the overlay. Interesting. Well, I wonder if it updates from healing. So, character customizer, you're going to be able to choose between different age groups. We'll have young, medium, and adult. So, adult's going to be probably like 25. Teenager's going to be like 16, 17. And then young is going to be 10, right? The classic 10-year-old. We won't have the adults start with their mom. They'll just have their own, maybe not their own house, but maybe like a partner, right? What, like, just something. Maybe not a partner, but like their own apartment or whatever. That way, dang, this thing is messing me up. But that way, it's not like you still have a place to heal in the early game. Maybe it's you visiting your mom, like for a holiday or whatever. That the story doesn't really matter so much in this scenario. Maybe I'll come up with like a better one as we get a bit later. This might be risky. Don't die. Okay, just in case, I'm gonna switch to the rock. Yeah, so character customization, lots more options. I really like the eyes that they give us in the newer games. Like, they're really silly, and I'm kind of in love with them. So we'll probably keep stuff like that as well. And we'll give you a little bit more options, like base clothing options, because it's silly to me that there's, like, nothing that you start with. Give me that fire. What? I thought you learned Ember at 20. Oh, big sads. Big sads. Alright, but now we've created our character, we've selected our mode. What next? Well, we get into the game, and the first thing you do pretty much is choose your starter. Now, this is my Pokemon game. I'm going to choose literally every single aspect of it. And I'm kind of tired of the fire, water, grass starters. Now, it is a tradition. It is the classic. But we've also done it 9 times now. Actually, 10 times if you think of Pokemon Legends Arceus. We can deviate a little bit. So what are my starter types going to be? Well, I debated having it being like flying, rock, and then what was it? What was the other type? Fighting? Yeah, flying, rock, fighting. But I do think it is good to let your players get a little bit more rarer types at the beginning of the game. So, what we're gonna do, that's so annoying, is we're gonna do steel types, okay? We'll do steel, fire. I know we're reusing fire, but like, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to do? And then rock. Alright? So that way we still have like a little bit of type variety. We are keeping the fire type, but there's not like it's tough to find like one of those triangles, and there's not a lot of fire types anyways, and a lot of people do get excited for the fire types. So we're keeping the fire type in. Oh, then we will also have our and their end types are going to be fire, poison, because I think it's a really cool type combo. Fire ground is also up for debate. Like, I think that'd be pretty cool too. So those are our two, and I think I want to have the fire type. And I'm gonna go grind elsewhere because this isn't working very well for me. Where can I go grind? If I had a fire type move, that'd be so nice. Maybe I'll start training the Voltorb, actually. But I need the fire type. I need the fire type. Whatever, we'll just keep grinding here, it's fine. So, that it's gonna be, I think, like armadillo kind of creature. So, fire, ground, fire, poison is kind of going to be the idea there. Just because, like, I feel like we don't get enough of fire type being mixed with others, like those two types specifically. Fire rock is also like something. We'll get rid of the poison because we do have the fire poison type Salazzle. And we'll actually go in deep on the fire rock type because we don't like it's Magcargo, and I think that's it. The fire slug. And I think it'd be really cool to have, that's why the game's not playing the audio. I forgot I muted it. That is very loud. There we go. Fix that. I was wondering why there wasn't any sound. You know what? Maybe. No, because I want you guys to be able to hear it. Huh. I guess I could do this. Perfect. Yeah, thinking about it, the music actually makes it kind of difficult to concentrate on what I'm talking about. Alright, but we'll make it a fire rock type, because we don't really have very many fire rock types. We also don't have very many fire rock types. So one of the two. Probably fire. We'll do fire ground just because we have a rock type in the rotation. Alright. Then we're going to make our rock type a water type as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the double dipping of the weaknesses. So our types are going to like double down on being more effective to their corresponding types. So fire rock or fire ground is both types are very good against steel. Then our rock type is going to be the water rock, which both types are effective against fire. And then last but not least, our steel type is going to be a fighting steel type. Alright. And for designs, like overall design of what they're going to look like, we're going to have our steel type is going to be kind of a, like, we're going to make it a fast, hard-hitting steel type rather than the bulky steel type that we're used to. So we're gonna have the design kind of be like a samurai, but a like samurai that uses fans, kind of like Oricorio mixed with Kingambit in terms of visual aesthetics. And it'll probably take more of a feminine look rather than the more masculine, bulky look of Kingambit. So that'll be our steel type. And then our rock type, our water rock type, is going to be like a spider, I think. It's going to be a rock spider. Because I think that'd be really, really dope. And then it's going to be like a rock water spider. Awesome. Like, I kind of love it. Like how it's going to look. Like, I already have it in my mind. It's going to have like these little crater things. It's like a little tiny baby crab. Or baby spider, I should say. And then as it evolves and gets bigger and bigger, you're going to see the craters turn into little pools of water. And this is going to be our bulky Pokemon, is going to be the water rock type. And our balanced Pokemon will be the fire ground type. But the rock type, like I said, it's going to like turn into like little craters of water, and it's going to be so dope. Or in my head, it's really dope. Then we'll have those are our 3 starters. So we're good there. Now, after you've chosen your starter, you'll fight your rival or whatever. Gotta have the classic rival battle in there. But here's the question. What are we gonna make our rival kind of? Like, how are we gonna design our rival? So I actually think what we'll have our rival be is going to be maybe a scumbag again. Because it's been a long time since we had a scumbag rival. Like, honestly, it's been... I'm not counting Gladion as a scumbag. He's just a weirdo. But... I want more EXP. We can go fight the trainers in Erica's gym. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But our rival's gonna be kind of a scumbag again. But we're gonna make it like a pompous female rival this time. Because honestly, we had Nemona. And Nemona's like the only female rival. I guess Bianca too. But we need a scumbag female rival. That's what we really need. We need the... like, the shoujo, like, prissy rival. That's what I want. That is going to be our rival for this. She's going to be from, like, this nice family. She's going to have this beautiful mansion. And the only reason she gave you a Pokemon, she's going to be, like, the one that gives you the Pokemon, is because she needs someone to go on her journey because she's, like, lonely or something. So that's going to be, like, her overall story. is Lonely Shoujo. That was a lot of damage, and you're out. I am so glad they didn't wrap me. But then we get to the world and the town, right? So we're gonna have, of course, it'd be like a bit of a bigger town than we're used to, instead of being like the tiny little towns that we typically get in Pokemon. Reason being is I kind of want it to be close, maybe not the central hub, but I want it to be more open of a Pokemon game. I want you to be able to go to a couple different areas from the get-go and see vastly different Pokemon. And just because it is an adventure game is kind of like the ideal Pokemon that I'm looking for. So exploration is going to be a big thing, making all these cool areas. And we'll get into like the actual region design and topography and stuff like that in a sec. But I want the starting town to have like a bunch of different options for where you can go. You know, this is really bad actually. Okay, that's good. Okay, I just need to hit one more time. I can't escape. That was clutch. Perfect. Okay, that was actually, like, way sketchier. Maybe I shouldn't train here. Maybe I should not, because I forgot that the powder moves, or stun sport, works on grass types. So, we'll come back. Man, I need so much EXP. This is why people use the rare candies, but back to our region. Our creating of the game. Yeah, so we're gonna have... Why am I doing it like this? Sometimes I amuse myself. So, we're going to be able to go north, south, east, and west. We're gonna have completely open 4 directions, right? And then in the story of the game, it'll be like, oh, go whichever way you please. I will give you a hint on the gym leaders where these areas are. So it'll tell you like what the 4 types are there. Or, even better actually, just popped into my head, we'll have it be so that the... Ooh, we can go fight the Fishers. I guess the other way would have been faster. So we'll have, what was I saying? We'll have it be based on, we'll have the NPC, or the trainer, ooh, I can fight these guys, actually, talk about the different areas and what kind of Pokemon you can find there. So, like, one area may be a forest, right? And you can catch your foresty Pokemon there. And it'd be really cool. And then one area would probably be beachy, so then you can get the water Pokemon. And then we'll have one area that takes you to a mountain, and that can have the rocks and fire type Pokemon. It could even be a volcano. I like that idea, because let's talk about the topography of the region. So Pokemon is a, like, weird franchise, right? It's a fantasy franchise. And they really like taking inspiration from locales in our real world. So New York was Unova. The first 4 regions of the games are based on Japan. And then we have Hawaii, we have England, all sorts of different places, France. But I kind of want to do like a mix mash, like kind of make its own identity with this region. So we're going to make it so that the region is... we should be fine unless it crits. Ooh, close. So we're going to make it so that the region is... It died to burn, right? Okay. Yeah, it did. Okay. Something in the middle. We're going to kind of make it its own thing. So if you go south, you'll get to the volcano area, right? Or the start of the volcano. It'll be like kind of, what I kind of want to make it is a canyon area that is kind of a underground, like, reverse volcano, right? Instead of it going up, it's like a giant crater. Okay. And that's annoying. Okay, what do you have? That roar isn't helpful for us. So instead of going up, you go down. Okay, and you descend into the... I guess the cavern could be a good descriptor of it, but I want it to be a canyon and then it's a volcano. Just so you get, like, the cool fire pits and whatnot. Like, I think that'd be sick. And then we are actually going to make it so you can get ice types quicker. We're going to have up north take you to the forest, and then that's going to lead to the ice area after that. We'll have the ocean to the west, and it's going to be like a beachy area, and then we're actually going to repeat water on the eastern side, but it's going to be more marshy. And after the marshy area, you're going to get to like a... what do I want there, actually? Okay, let's do one of these real quick. And then let's heal. I would love to use that on them. Did I not buy potions? Oh, I did buy potions. Sick. Okay. So then, as you go further and further down each of these paths, it's going to go into more and more interesting areas. So the marshes are going to lead to an area of fog and mirrors. Okay. And the fog is going to be caused by some legendary Pokemon, I think. Yeah, we'll make it a legendary Pokemon. We'll confuse Ray first. Chance to buy us more turns. And then the mirrors are just going to make it like kind of like the annoying, weird, tough area to like navigate. The beach area. Okay, so it's going to start off with like plains, and then it's going to go to the beach. Like, sure, I can have it be... It's probably better to put the marshes into the beach, and then after the beach... Yeah, we'll do it like that, just because it makes more sense that the wetland's like near the ocean. And then after that, though, you're going to have like kind of an underwater bowl kind of looking structure or like area. So it is the ocean itself, but there's like a weird kind of cave / glass structure that lets you walk under the water, and you can kind of traverse inside of the water, if that makes sense. Like, not actually being wet or anything, but it's like an area that's... There's going to be, like, an underwater cave, kind of. But, with how it's going to be formed via, like, the region and topography, it's going to be... sure. It's going to be based, essentially, glass. It's going to be a glass cave. Under the water. And it'll be cool. It probably won't be called glass, because, like, I'm pretty sure glass would, like, shatter being under all that pressure. But you get the idea. And we'll actually have it be... So you go to the desert south, which leads to the canyon. And it's going to be... Or there will be a desert in between the canyon and the volcano. Like, south... west... Because I said west is where the ocean is going to have a desert that's like in between the ocean and the volcano, and that's going to be what's created. It'll be some kind of like specialty desert. But the idea is the lava and the sand and whatever special like stuff is in the sand came together in order to create this desert. So that's going to be the idea of that, of the region. And we'll go more in depth on all like the different areas a bit later. Probably not even today, because it's already been 30 minutes of me chat. Alright. Sure. So what's next? what is next in our line of Pokemon? So we have the first kind of general area set up, but we do need to come up with... I'm not going to come up with the individual Pokemon because I feel like you kind of need to see those in order to kind of appreciate them. And I could come over with, like, weird ideas, but this is more like off the cuff, so I'm not going to be able to just like do that here. What are these? I've always wondered what these people are doing. Like, it's always... Yeah, they do look silly like that. Especially because it's, like, scientists. Whatever. I really wish I had a fire move. But, next up on our agenda, gimmick. Are we going to have a gimmick in this game? So, if you don't know what I mean, the gimmicks are going to be like Dynamax, Mega Evolution, Z moves. And in my opinion, I really don't want to have one, but I get it. It's like to hype up the kids and whatnot. But we're not doing it, because I don't want to do that. I don't really like most of the gimmicks. Like, Mega Evolution was kind of cool, but then I, like, just want an evolution to those Pokemon most of the time. And, I know it's mostly so you could give fan favorites another stage, another level into their evolution, but some Pokemon, like... Mawile could have used a regular evolution, I'm gonna be honest. Like, the Mega Evolution's really good, don't get me wrong, but it really wanted a Mega Evolution. That's sad. So, we're probably going to skip out on the gimmicks. Next thing I do want to talk about, though, is changing up the type chart a little bit. Because there is a specific type that I think is still broken, and it has been broken despite being nerfed. And there's a type that I think is absolute terrible, like god-awful. And the only reason it sees, like, any form of, like, usage is because of a different type. Entirely. Because that type pretty much gets all of its moves. I'm talking about Steel and Ice types, specifically. Some people may be like, but the Bug type... And I will change the Bug type a little bit. Because the Bug type doesn't need half the roster to be able to resist it. Like, that's just kind of silly to me. That many Pokemon in the roster can resist it, like Poison, Fire, Flying, Steel, like all these types resist it, and it's kind of ridiculous to me that there's that many Pokemon that resist these types. So what am I going to do to the Steel type? Well, I'm actually going to remove its ability to hit Ice types super effectively. Because Ice types need it, man. Ice types need it so bad. Like, Ice type, in my opinion, is the worst type. Oh, but it's so good offensively. Sure, it is pretty good offensively. I might lose my fortune to this. Sweet. Okay. Sure, it's really good offensively. But... a lot of the Pokemon aren't good enough in order to overcome how atrocious their Ice typing is. Like, you have Weavile and Weavile 2 Chien-Pao. Those are pretty much like the only viable Ice types ever. Because they're the only Ice types that they ever make fast and able to do their thing. I guess Jinx also could go under that category. But Jinx is, like, also absurdly frail and doesn't see play anymore in, like, anything. Even though it's fast and hits pretty hard. So, how do we fix this? We're obviously removing Steel's strength against it. Because, like, Steel hits Ice, Rock, and Fairy types for super effective damage. Now, I know. It hitting the ice type isn't that good because ice type sucks. But that's still pretty good. Like, hitting fairy types alone is kind of busted. You could be like the poison type. The poison type can hit it. Well, let's be real. The poison type hasn't been very good either. Like, the types that hit fairy type for super effective damage aren't very good. And that's part of why it's, like, so dominant in pretty much every format fairy type's legal in. Hey, show me that boy. Show me the giant toad. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Oh, he looks so good. Okay, so when does it update on this overlay? How quick? Pretty quick. Let's go heal up. I'm gonna go heal at Lavender Town, though. Okay, and then... we're probably gonna leave... we're also gonna take out one of Steel's resistances, just because I don't think Steel needs 8 resistances or whatever it is. Like, I get it, it's the defensive typing, but some of them I'm like, is that really okay? Like, I don't think it needs the resistance to ice type, because, you know, the Titanic exists, so I feel like ice and steel could be neutral against each other on both sides. So completely remove those. Then, after that, for the ice typing, we're going to give it a second resistance. That's pretty much all we're going to do to it. But just having one more resistance would be so nice in terms of its viability. And that second resistance is going to be onto the water type. It being able to resist the water types means that the water types won't, like, they stonewall each other, which is, I think, a better spot for both of them to be. As opposed to them both resisting, or as opposed to water types just kind of bodying the ice type. So, with that, ice type becomes a little bit better at switching in. Not, like, the greatest at switching in, but it's something, right? Like, it's better than just resisting itself. And arguably, you could also have it resist fairy, but I don't think it needs too many resistances. Especially because it is pretty decent at being an offensive threat. But we are also going to give it another... No, that should be fine. I don't want to go, like, too overboard with the weaknesses and resistances. But that should be good enough to get it, like, kind of off of its really tough ground. Because it can't switch into anything. They make a bunch of bulky ice types to kind of compensate for the ice type, but it just results in net loss. Our next change is going to be to the bug type. So the bug type really is, for the most part, fine in my opinion. It just needs less things to resist it, to be honest. And with that being said, we're going to get rid of poison's resistance to it. Do I want to make it poisons? No, we're going to get rid of fairies' resistance to it, actually. Because fairies and bugs fighting each other, like, neutrally, I think that makes sense. Like, the insects and the fairies going to war. So, that's what we'll do there. Is we're going to get rid of fairies' resistance to it. That way it hits fairy types a bit. And makes them not quite as strong. Or able to switch into as many hits. Because for the most part, bug type is pretty decent. Hitting dark types, having U-turn, like, there's all sorts of things that are good for bug types. Having a ground resistance is excellent. So, I think just leaving it at that is fine. So those are going to be our major type changes. Poison would be another one that I'd want to help out, just like the smallest of bits. So maybe give it like one more resistance. But that's like the only other change I would want to make on the type chart. Moves. We're getting rid of the Sneaky Pebbles. I know Sneaky Pebbles are really, really good, and they're integral to stopping a bunch of offensive Pokemon from going absolutely bananas. Heavy Duty Boots was kind of the example of that. But here's the thing. It's so crippling to so many Pokemon and types that are already bad. Like, pretty much every single ice type, majority of the flying types, as well as the bug types, legitimately don't get a play. Like, don't get used because they're so crippled by the ice type. And on top of that, or by the rock, the Sneaky Pebbles. On top of that, the types that are already pretty dang good, Steel type, Ground type, resist the move. It's kind of like a rich gets richer situation for these Pokemon, and I kind of want to fix that up. So what we're going to do is get rid of the Sneaky Pebbles, but we'll introduce a different kind of entry hazard that doesn't work as similar to them, but it'll be an anti-air Sneaky Pebbles. Probably an electric type. What is it? Sneaky Pebbles entry hazard. Because flying types are still really good, and they fly over the other hazards. But I'd also be okay with just making it so that there is no type-based entry hazard, and make it just a air-based entry hazard that you only get one layer of, but it hits non-grounded Pokemon. Because the non-grounded Pokemon issue, like the fact that flying types in Gen 3 are so busted because they get over entry hazards, I think that's fine to introduce a airborne entry hazard. That's annoying. Rock Throw. Oh no. Is this gonna sweep me? Okay. But that's only gonna deal everything. Alright, cool. Don't even have to worry about it. Please. Dang it. I thought I learned it at 20. I don't have that move available. Yeah, so that is that. Okay. Also, I am going to be removing or re-adding Hyper Beams. If it kills, you get Hyper Beam back. Claws. And we'll add it to all the Hyper Beam clones as well. Because it's kind of silly to me that they... Like, it's such a fun, risky gambit to do, right? I get it. Maybe we only give it back to Hyper Beam. Because, like, the type-based ones might be really busted. But, like, Stab Hyper Beam should be feared. And it takes time to switch out your Pokemon, right? Like, that's the time that your Pokemon needs to recharge. So let it get the recharge. And we'll be in a good spot. Okay, can I go far enough down to get the rod? I know I'm supposed to be training Fortune, but I also need to be training this Electrode. Or not Electrode, but Voltorb. So that's going to be it for, like, those major changes. I think that's pretty much it in terms of the battling system. Like, those are the two big ones I had was Hyper Beam, Sneaky Pebbles. Because overall, I think maybe also helping out physical electric types by giving them a move rather than them just having nothing and being kind of doomed to death in terms of mediocrity. Because, like, Luxray, Electros, like, there's Electivire, there's so many electric types that just can't hack it because their best move is Wild Charge. And Wild Charge sucks. It's just, honestly, even just buffing Wild Charge to higher base power, is it still 85? If it's 85, we're making it 120. It's like Flare Blitz now. And then we'll give them, like, I don't know, a better, like, a less recoil-oriented electric move. Okay, we're gonna switch on you, just to preserve some HP. So, that's... I think... Sorry about that. That's what we're gonna do for that, for them. Or for the gameplay. Like, the actual under-the-hood mechanics. I'm not gonna go all the way deep into that discussion, though. Just because there's, like, a bunch of things, and when you are designing, like, a whole game, you are gonna have to come up with, like, all of those options. But that should be fine for now. We'll probably fight this fisherman and then call it a day. Yeah, that sounds good, actually. We'll fight this guy, call it a day. Kind of been talking a lot, I know. It's day 13 of streaming. But I feel like today we've been way more focused. Not entirely super hyper-focused, but more so than usual. So that's a good step in the right direction. And tomorrow we'll probably continue the discussion of like what I'd want for a Pokemon game. Give me a little bit more time to think about more options and different ideas. Just so it is, it's fine. This is why all my Pokemon, like, set mode makes it so I just don't switch my good Pokemon in or my Pokemon that are weak in, because I'm like, I don't want to switch a Pokemon into a move. Like, that sounds terrible. And it's kind of created this, two Pokemon dilemma. But it's fine. It is fine. So, yeah, so tomorrow we'll talk more about this. Maybe I'll probably come up with more ideas just as I'm, like, doing my thing at work tomorrow. And we'll come up with better ideas. Flesh them out a little bit more. But my name has been Sir Lord. Today we talked about kind of the beginnings of what I'd want for a Pokemon game if I got to make one. And tomorrow we'll probably do the same. I did mess around with getting Pokemon Trading Card Game Live working, but I'm like iffy on it because it runs so badly. It runs so badly. It makes me just not want to play the game. So we'll see what else I can come up with for variety content. Maybe it won't even be Pokemon related. Who knows? But that's going to be it for today. I will talk to you guys in the future. Have a good night.